Hey guys, Batuna here. Today we are going to go over the basics of Holy Paladin. Now this is a page out of Sidhu's book from Legion. He used to do a lot of videos like this where he went over the basics of this healer. And I want to kind of bring that back to life because Sidhu doesn't really do videos like this anymore, and he's my mentor when it comes to the healing world. He's the one that I look towards as a learning healer. So I want to do my best to try and kind of revitalize that for today's time. Now why am I doing Holy Paladin out of my other healers? Well, because Holy Paladin is the most popular. It's the healer that most people are swapping to and kind of giving a shot. So I find it's the perfect time to kind of make a video like this. So this is going to span across 4 videos. We're going to do the rotation, the builds for Holy Paladin, the cooldown rotation, and then the positioning in your RBGs and arenas. The 4 basic necessities I think every healer should know about the healer they're playing. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, leave a like right down below, and let's get right into it. So before we go into the rotation, let's talk about our beacons. Our beacons are permanent buffs that transfer 20% of the healing I do to other targets to my beacon target. So you see here, I'm healing this target dummy. These dummies over here are receiving some of the healing that I'm doing. Very, very good. Pretty much our main way of getting spread healing. Now for arena, it's very standard. Keep your beacons on your 2 DPS. The targets are going to be focused the most, your 2 DPS. It's not really that important to keep beacon on yourself for a couple of reasons. One, it's not important because we have Light of the Martyr. Light of the Martyr gives us 35% increased healing to our Holy Shock, so long as we're above 70% HP. But it creates a heal absorb on us that prevents Beacon of Light from actually healing us. So there's really no point having Beacon of Light on yourself if it's just not going to actually do any healing. So no reason, unless you are being swapped to and you want to get value of Save with the Light, you can easily do that. If you feel like you're going to get swapped to the Jungle Cleave, they cross CC or DPS, place a beacon on yourself just in case you are stunned and you need a bit of extra support. You can get Save of the Light to proc, which gives you a nice little absorb shield. Other than that, keep Beacon of Light and Beacon of Faith on your DPS. Swap if you really need to for that scary situation. Now for RBGs, it can be a little bit different because you have 10 people in an RBG setting. So I am an offensive healer. My RBG leader always sends me out for offense. I always put my beacon on the targets that I want to keep in the fight the longest. It's going to be my top DPS and my target caller. Top DPS is what's going to kill the enemy, and our target caller is what's going to call out which enemy needs to die. So they're very important. Now, sometimes it'll switch. For example, if my healer is getting trained, I'll place a beacon on him. If I need to escort my tank to get her through safely, I'll keep a beacon on her, just in case if I heal anyone else, she's always going to have some bit of my healing. So that's the kind of situation where beacon might swap to different targets. So the rotation, again, very straightforward. You're simply just building up holy power and spending that holy power. Holy power is our secondary resource, right? It allows us to spend certain abilities like Reward of Glory. Now, you may wonder, wait, that's not Word of Glory, that says Eternal Flame. Eternal Flame is my hero talent. It's Herald of the Sun hero talent. It replaces Word of Glory with Eternal Flame, which if you've played through Warlords of Draenor, you remember Eternal Flame. But for kind of the easiest, not to get confused, I'll just keep saying Word of Glory. So yeah, you're simply just building up holy power and spending that on Word of Glory. So our main rotational spell we're pressing to build that holy power in order to spend those holy power spenders is Holy Shock. Holy Shock has so many versatile uses. 1, it does healing. 2, it does damage. So if I use it on myself, heals. Use it on this guy, it damages him. 3, it generates holy power, of course. 4, it has 2 charges. And 5, it procs this Infusion of Light. So if I get Holy Shock criticals, doesn't really matter if it's healing or damage, it'll give me this Infusion of Light buff. And this Infusion of Light buff enhances my other skills. Hopefully I can find it with my old 20-year-old eyes. Here we go. Infusion of Light. Infusion of Light, Holy Shock empowers your next spell cast. If I use it on Flash of Light, the mana cost of it will be reduced by 60%. Holy Light, healing increased by 150%, and Judgment, Greater Judgment prevents an additional 150% of the damage dealt by the target. If you don't know what that is, it is basically a debuff that is applied through our Judgment that prevents a good amount of damage that target deals to us. Very nice. And so this is very important. Holy Shock is exponentially important. So we're simply just spamming Holy Shock the entire time. If Holy Shock is available, you're pressing it no matter what. It is the #1 prio over any other rotational spell in your arsenal. Alright, simply just pressing it. Now, see here, I have 3 Holy Power. Now I have enough to dump it on an Eternal Flame. That's it. You're simply just weaving between those Holy Shocks and Eternal Flames. But Big Tuna, I have no charges of Holy Shock, and I don't have enough to spend on Eternal Flame. What do I press now? I have no Holy Shock charges, what can I press? there's actually a number of stuff that we can press. One of them is Judgment. I personally press Judgment almost off CD. I almost prioritize this as much as the Holy Shock. Judgment has many versatile uses, much like the Holy Shock. It does damage, really good damage. Hits for, on average, about 500k. Highest I've seen it hit for is about 800k. Really nice. It's pretty much like the Rushing Wind Kick for Mistweaver Monks. So, does damage, generates Holy Power, and then applies that Greater Judgment effect. So not only is it available for that defense for us, gives us that damage, and gives us the Holy Power. So I'm simply just pressing Holy Shock, and then I have no Holy Shock charge to generate more Holy Power. I just Judgment, and boom, I have 3 Holy Power. Dump it right there. Great. Now Big Tuna. I have no Holy Shock charges, I have no Judgment, and I still can't press Eternal Flame. What else can I press? Well, that's where our casted heals come in. The Flash of Light's the Holy Light. So out of the two, they're kind of in their own respective areas. Flash of Light is the rotational healing. If you're experiencing downtime, you have no other way to generate Holy Power. You simply just cast Flash of Light. That's it. With or without Infusion of Light, it does not matter. I usually try to only cast my castable spells with Infusion of Light, but if I need the Holy Power and have no Infusion of Lights, it's not the end of the world. I'll just cast them. But yeah, Flash of Light doesn't really do too much healing. You're simply just using it to generate Holy Power. That's really it. Nothing too complicated. Holy Light has a lot of modifiers that are attached to it, and it's primarily used for really large healing. So I only use this under one circumstance, is that if I need a really big heal. And that big heal only really comes if I have this buff right here, Divine Favor, which is available every 30 seconds. So that's really the only time I'll use Holy Light, but if I'm in between that, if I don't have the Divine Favor and I still need something big, I don't have any Holy Shock charges, I just need real good healing, I'll cast a Holy Light out there. Why not? Very situational for the Holy Light, but Flash of Light is rotational if you're experiencing a lot of downtime between the Holy Shocks and Judgments. You can't get any Eternal Flames out. Now you have one other spell that generates Holy Power. That's Crusader Strike. When you cast a spell, whenever you feel like it. It's not something that you're going to be reaching into melee range just to cast, but if, hey, you're in a battleground, you're in threes, you're moving around the map, and the Warlock is just randomly right next to you, you know what? Cool. Just throw the Crusader Strike out there. Screw it. It does decent damage. It generates the Holy Power. Screw it. I don't want to sit there and cast and, maybe get kicked, so I'll just get the Crusader Strike out there. Generate the Holy Power. So adding onto our rotation through our hero talents, Lightsmith doesn't really change your rotation at all. Herald of the Sun, there's something you need to manage. It's Dawn Light. So Dawn Light is activated when we do cast as Barrier of Faith or our Holy Prism, both with 30-second cooldowns. And it will make it so our next 2 Holy Power spending abilities will apply Dawn Light, which is a damage over time or a heal over time, over 8 seconds, and some of that damage and healing does radiate to nearby allies and enemies. So this is very important. Basically, whichever one you take, Holy Prism or Barrier of Faith, you're going to be pressing off CD every single time. You'll press off CD and you will get some Dawn Light healing. So that's really the only rotational difference that your hero talents make an impact on, is just simply maintaining your Dawn Lights out there by just simply making sure you have Barrier of Faith and Holy Prism off CD every single time it pops up. So that's really the only rotational difference of that. But yes, it's a very standard rotation. Holy Shock, weave in the Eternal Flame, Judgment if you really need to for the damage and Holy Power, and to apply Greater Judgment. You need healing, cast Holy Light. You need some bit of extra rotational support if everything is on cooldown. Cast Flash of Light, and make sure you have Barrier of Faith and Holy Prism active at all times, so you can get the buff to your Dawn Lights to get a lot of healing out there.